Want to 10x your growth? Discover how only 3 growth hacks in 10 days can change everything. Welcome to the 10-Day Growth Hacking Challenge with your host, Nader Sabri. Today we are here with Marc, Jarrett, shaking things up when it comes to virtual power networking. To know more about what Marc does, go below. And if you want to know his story and the narrative behind how he's shaking things up, head over to the kickoff video as we get started. As a reminder, for whatever we do here in the Growth Hacking Challenge is actually coming from the Growth Thinking Design Methodology book, where you can do what we're doing here by getting this. Marc, welcome aboard, man. Welcome back. How you doing?
Good afternoon to you, and good morning for me.
Good morning, good afternoon.
From the United Kingdom.
Awesome. Feeling the energy, man. So as we always get started, we always kind of do a check on the last hack. Is there anything in hack 1 before we jump into hack 2 that you want to share in the sense of results, impacts, or even transformations you've experienced as you move along?
Yes, it's all heading in the right direction. I've recently been retained by 2 new clients who want me to network for them. Networking is quite a time-consuming process, and about 10% of people hate networking, a bit like public speaking. They find it intimidating, but many more, over half of all people, quite like it, but they just don't have the time. So if they engage in my services, I network for them, like a virtual networking concierge, if you will. So once I have a better understanding of your business goals, I just tenaciously seek out those people and bring them to the virtual table.
Awesome. So for those who know, Marc has taken a low friction, high impact approach in hack number 1, which has gotten him direct results as he started to scale it by reaching out to his network, which is approximately 50,000 people directly via 200 WhatsApp groups that are very specific to networking goals within specific verticals. That has worked very well for him. As he's done this, he's been getting responses, and we've been looking at the different signals together to understand where the different opportunities are by asking a very simple question, which was?
The question was, do you find value in what I do? And most of them do, and that's why they've agreed to pay me access to the WhatsApp group. So I've got a bronze, silver, gold, platinum package, depending on how many groups they want to join.
Awesome.
So between 10 and all 200 groups.
Awesome. So Marc jams them into that, gets them oriented. He greases the wheels to make them move through it, and then eventually moves them up the funnel to some of his more handheld services. I think, there's obviously a much better name for it than that, but that's what it is. He does the
concierge service. Yeah,
concierge service. Yes. Exactly. He takes the pain out of networking for you, and that very valuable to quite a few people, including a client recently that he has obtained in the legal area, who need his help to do exactly that. They take the pain out of networking, and that's done very well for him. So closing on that note, that's awesome. Keep going with hack number 1. Let's talk about hack number 2. I really like this. Okay, and we're going to talk a little bit more about this. Tell us what hack number 2 is, what has happened so far, and where it's going.
Hack number 2 is going to be a survey where I just reach out to all my network and ask them a series of questions. But the main question is going to be, please describe to me your dream client, your ideal referral. Who would you like to meet? And the reason I'm doing that is because I need to know, so I know who I can connect them to. But also, as we discussed previously, I'm not historically been a fan of email, but I need to start building up an email database of my tribe. I've got all their telephone numbers, but I don't really have their email addresses. So that will soon change by virtue of just pushing out this survey to all my network. Yeah.
So there's a growth hack with that, which is we would call data enrichment. And by having the phone numbers and through some data enrichment algorithms, you may be actually able to turn all 50,000 of them into emails. That's something we can explore separately, but there are tools to do that. And this capability does exist. But truly the best way is to get as many of them as possible organically yourself. And for whatever is remaining, then you can look at data enrichment tools that can help you do that. So we can explore that later on. What I really like about what Marc is doing here, and this is, so here's a huge blind spot. Email is old, archaic, basic, and that's kind of like some of the perspectives we see on email. Or when we shift over to email campaigns, oh, a newsletter, how exciting is that? Here's the crazy thing about it. Okay, from all the clients I've ever worked with, both in this challenge and clients I've had in mentorship and so forth, people in the least sexiest businesses taking on the most possible pain and dirty work are the people who really make the money. So if it was just as regular getting dirty work done when it comes to the digital side of the thing, which is email, don't you think it would make money? The reality is that it does. And that's not just my opinion. That's actually a fact. It's been proven that email is the most profitable channel when it comes to digital businesses in general. Now, the reason behind it, what a lot of people don't realize is that email is the only digital asset where you actually own the relationship with the client. So even if I had 1 million followers on Instagram, I don't own those 1 million followers. I don't even own the content I'm putting on there, believe it or not. You should go read your terms and conditions very carefully. I'm just a participant in a game that they're putting together that keeps me consuming all day, that puts advertising in front of me. If I'm going to create value and make money, I need to shift people in my funnel from visibility on platforms like WhatsApp and shift them into email. And that's exactly where Marc is going. He's going to shift the game on email. What I like about what you're doing, Marc, is the fact that you're going to start surveying and collecting data that's meaningful. And I think you're asking the most powerful question. What is your dream client, right? And the challenge with that, and this is where we want to obviously challenge you to do this, is structuring that to be non-contextual in a sense where I'll just sit and give you 100-word description. That really won't help you. What you need to do is you need to structure the data in a way where the data is structured in itself so that you can identify, especially in the future, digitally using even simple filters and algorithms in just a Google sheet to know how to connect people. Because trying to remember all 50,000 of them, even if you were to shortlist them into your top 50 or top 100, the combinations of activities and complexity just between even 10 people is going to overwhelm anybody, right? So we need to digitalize it, right? And so we got to take this beautiful high-level question, who's your dream client, and start to organize that very carefully. Short-term client, long-term client. Is it project-based? Is it retainer-based? Is it a one-time related thing? So once you start to profile those preferences, then you can start to filter it in simply, again, a Google sheet. Take the survey in Google Forms for free, shift it into Google Sheets also for free. And you don't need to do any algorithmic programming of any kind. You just use the filters and output those filters so you know who to kind of connect. And it's just that simple.
Another growth hack I'm going to use is Calendly. Calendly never forgets. I've been using it 7 years now. So I'm going to start reaching out to the people that I had conversations with when I first started using it.
Yes. So to extract the email. So there's a way to extract those emails. I'm not sure how to do it, but you're in the right track. You need to go back to all so we'll go step by step here. Calendly is one place you need to extract all past emails, bring them in. Another one is your actual Gmail or whatever email service you use. Just extract all old emails, get them into an email list, and then dump them in so that you've got as many people covered. The one thing I do warn people about when it comes to email, do double opt-in. Okay, so here's the thing about email. Everybody wants these really large numbers of people they can reach, but in reality, it's about quality, not quantity. So if I had 100 people who are completely engaged with me on email versus 10,000 who are just going to end up putting into spam or deleting it, you need those 100 people. So what I do is I rotate lists, meaning I clean them up quite frequently, both internally through filters that we use. On top of that, putting in another opt-in email. So like, hey guys, if this is of no value to you, I do that on WhatsApp as well, by the way. Like the 256 people maximum is a great thing because limitations allow us to get focused. And if whatever in there is of no value to me, go, I'll replace you with somebody else who it is value to. So the same thing with email.
Absolutely, yeah. Because each internet community has what's called lurkers. A lurker is someone who's part of an internet community but doesn't actually engage. They're a waste of everyone's time. Yep. So as the groups fill up and get full, I replace the lurkers with people who are actively engaged, even if it's just once or twice a week. But I need engaged people. That's how this networking works.
100%. 100%.
Yeah.
So super excited. Do you have any idea how you want to structure the survey to kind of map out how to connect the right people? Do you have any thoughts around that, or
that's going to be my primary question? Who is your dream client? But I'm going to be asking several subset questions like the ones you just alluded to as part of the survey. And the great thing, of course, about surveys, of course, is people feel that they might be getting something back. It's not salesy. It's to help them ultimately.
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, the perspective is to help them, and you can't help them unless knowing more about them. And that's what this is about. So it's about getting that right structure. So completely agree with you. And I think it's good to get a short description. I agree with you. But the more structure you can put in there, obviously, the better. Like it's not, like one of the things could be like international expansion versus local expansion. I mean, those are two. I mean, they're two dramatically different things that you would need to know. Are they very localized, very globalized? Are they regionalized? It makes a big difference. So things like that, I think, are going to play like a crucial role. And then you should also be documenting industries as well. And you can do that, by the way, easily with that. So, what industry are you in and what industry are you targeting? Or is it the same industry? And so at least, again, when you're filtering, right, you got someone in media and entertainment who's pursuing somebody in, I don't know, the legal business, for example. You can at least do those two filters and at least have a short list of who's in those industries and who's targeting those industries. And then you can mix and match. That we're just talking just super basic stuff. But the more contextual you get with that structured data, the better. It's going to need some thought, but I suggest things like industry, business models, geography, how far they want to go, the nature, the type of client they're looking for. Is it, again, retainer, one-time, project-based? You might want to actually try something as well. I don't know if it makes sense, but the range of charges they have, like, getting some numbers in there, understanding, like, if they were to bring a client in, what would that ideal client pay them, right? It may sound like, okay, is that useful to us now or not? But that indicator can work very well for you when connecting somebody in the future. When you say, I'm going to connect you with this guy, just to give you an indicator, I mean, this guy will charge between kind of these prices. Of course, negotiations and discussion of scope is between you and him. But is that, does that work? Because sometimes some of these things are way out of budget for anybody, and why put them in touch, right? Like, we're talking massive distance. Sometimes the distance is not bad and you can still make the connection.
Absolutely. Yeah. And you touched on something earlier, international expansion. My primary group is anyone that wants to, for me to network for them. But a subset of that, and a more niche group, are US enterprises that want to expand internationally. Because only 1 in 5 Americans use WhatsApp, ironically. Here in Europe, everyone uses it. But the Americans that do use it often don't see it. It's actually a very useful business tool. And using WhatsApp, I can introduce them to people to help meet their business goals almost immediately.
Exactly. And so in that context, I would break it down and ask, I mean, when you expand globally, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to set up there? Are you trying to find a local partner? Are you just trying to sell from where you are directly to them and they import whatever it is, even if it's a service? And then if they are looking for certain partners, what kind of partners are they looking for? Are they looking for somebody who's a co-owner, an equity situation? Or are they just looking for someone to pay as a partner to go and get the dirty work done for them locally? So these kind of like small contextual questions, they sound small. These little details make the biggest difference when it comes to international engagement, right? It's very different between somebody who wants to get a local partner to open doors versus a local partner to own equity who eventually will open doors but do other things for them, right? And in some cases, they classify it as we need a partner, but they don't actually really need a partner. What they're really looking for is a consultant who can get the dirty work done for them so that they can operate on their own.
Exactly.
You see? A completely different context. I've gone through this so many times. So it's like, if you can just weed that crap out and just get that like crystal clear, the amount of speed that you're going to see being able to network and match the right people is going to be phenomenal.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Networking remains an inherent part of the human condition. I mean, we're all hardwired to network and grow our tribes. And that's why the $840 billion MICE industry, meetings, incentive, conferences, and events, is all underpinned by networking. The only reason people go to these shows and conferences really is to network and meet potential clients, partners, and their peers.
Precisely. Yeah. And that can be applied to things like training as well, right? Training, seminars, workshops, education, right? I mean, yeah, there's a
finding work.
Exactly. Yeah. So there's so many opportunities. I mean, of course, I know that's not what you're focusing to, but I think you're showing the grand size of the requirement for the yearning of connection and streamlining those connections, especially in a world where we are today, where there's a lot of misinformation, misrepresentation, a lot of mismatching naturally already happening. So removing those complexities is huge. I mean, you're just going to save so much time for people that it's going to be worth a lot of money to them. And that's ultimately your value proposition right there.
That's the key word, time.
Yep.
Because we all share the same, we all share 24 hours a day, don't we? But so many of us nowadays are just so strapped for time, and I can help them save it. And time is money, as you know.
Exactly. There we go.
Fantastic.
So that's hack number 2, guys. Check out Marc below to get more information, to know more about his story. Head over to the first kickoff video, shaking things up in the virtual power networking space. As you can see from hack number 2, he is simplifying the complexity for people to save time so they can make money by taking the pain out of networking in various different levels, from low friction to higher engagement services that get you better quality networking. That is Marc Jarrett. Check him out below. We're going to see you in the next video, Marc, right? Hack number 3, ready to go?
I am ready, awesome. Willing, and able. All right.
There we go. See you, Marc. Take care.